The Waifus of Overwatch Fanimation series has got a lot of background information about it, which a lot of people won't know unless I mention that in Twitter, which I did. But I figured, hey, that's got 150 character limit, so why don't I go ahead and just make a video about it, and maybe people will know more about it. So here's some fun facts about the Fanimation series in general, and of course its first free episode. Number 1. Reinhardt's introduction scene was originally intended to be longer. The first scene of Fanimation 1 was the announcement of the Fanimation series in general, but it was actually intended to be significantly longer. When Reinhardt smashed his hammer down, originally Mercy was meant to fall off the balcony, only to be saved and pulled up by McCree. However, due to nothing particularly funny happening after that bit, it was decided instead just to have McCree play cameraman. Number 2. The scene where Reinhardt saves Zenyatta was also meant to be longer. In the original audio, Erin goes on about how she would proclaim her love to Reinhardt and heal him whenever he got hurt. This was originally intended to be animated, and in fact, partly got animated. However, it was scrapped due to the fact that it just didn't seem funny to me. That's how a lot of these things work. Typically, I guess this is another fact, so I'll just point this one out right now. Fun fact about the Fanimation in general, number 1, they're typically a lot shorter than what I get with. Typically when I go through the podcast, I usually cut up the bits of audio which I like and keep them. This can go from about 5 minutes long with Darren DePaul's podcast, and up to 10 minutes long with Matthew Mercer's. Obviously, corners have to be cut, so they basically go through a point of seeing which ones I still find funny a little bit down the line, and which ones are just fun to animate. Some of them do survive as transitions though, but for the most part, a lot of them get scrapped. Anyway, back to Fanimation 1. Number 3. The Reinhardt Rule 34 scene was meant to have a more aggressive Reinhardt. The original idea was that Reinhardt would force Zenyatta into a corner while he was roaring about how Zenyatta must die before getting hit in the head with... Originally it was a frying pan, but it turned into a baseball. The reason was because that there was no space in the room in order to move the camera and keep them all in shot. So sacrifices had to be made, so Reinhardt just had to stand there yelling about it. And then he got hit in the head with a baseball. Fanimation 2, fun fact 1. Torb is not actually fully in the box. The opening scene of Fanimation 2, or as I call it, Torb in a box, involves Torbjorn basically popping up from inside a box before falling over. But Torbjorn actually isn't fully in the box. This is because due to the size of the model, especially the left arm, it was impossible to put him completely in the box without him clipping through. But reducing the model's side would lessen the impression that he's actually stuck in the box. So a compromise was made where Torbjorn was moved just slightly outside the box in order to keep the illusion in. You can't see it though on the actual Fanimation, but you can when you're looking at it from the worker's side. Number 2. Some of those transitions are actually references. For the most part, the transitions are just that. They're just transitions between scenes. But 3 of them actually have references. The most obvious one is Junkrat with the trap, making reference to Tom and Jerry, even with the stock sound effect that they used for him. But the Mariachi Reaper transition is actually a reference to a video called Daisei on YouTube, in which a mariachi player basically yells out Daisei for a good minute, and one of the things he does is basically exactly what Reaper does. The Diva Mech transition is a direct reference to a scrap project called When Highlight Intros Go Wrong, in which the Overwatch characters try to do the highlight intros, but something goes wrong. The only one that was completed was the Reinhardt one, but that was never put up on YouTube and was instead put up on Twitter, which is why nobody probably knows about it. Number 3. Diva's sleeping. The scene in which Torbjorn talks about learning how to play Overwatch so that he can at least lose trying to play rather than lose not having a clue how to play involves Diva curled up on the couch sleeping. But what a keen-eyed viewer might notice is that Diva's hand is actually close to her mouth. This is because, due to stupid attention to detail on my side, Diva is actually sucking her thumb. I thought it was adorable, so I did it. Number 4. The Overwatch clip isn't just a stock clip. At the end of the Torb learns to play Overwatch scene, I didn't have a name for it, there's a clip playing in the background where everyone else is watching it. That's not a stock clip, that's actually a clip I myself recorded. I was playing Mei. Shut up, it was Mystery Heroes. Number 5. Reaper almost scrapped Fanimation 2. The ending scene involving Soldier 76, McCree, Mei, and the other 3 was meant to involve Reaper as well. During the scene, Soldier 76 and Reaper were meant to try and outpoint each other on who gets to be next in the Fanimation. However, something went wrong with the Reaper model, causing the software to crash whenever it was loaded in. Unfortunately, its last save was when the model was loaded in. what resulted in several hours of panic, anger, and eventually I fixed it by getting rid of the model entirely. But if it didn't, I'd have to start from scratch, so thanks, Reaper. Also, not really a fun fact, but I'm gonna just point it out here. I already knew that McCree was gonna be the next one because Danielle accidentally kind of let it slip a little bit. Fanimation 3, number 1. An ongoing story was planned for the transitions. Before Fanimation 3 even got going, there was a plan for there to be an ongoing story between the transitions. It was settled on that it would be Winston trying to stop Samba from sabotaging the Fanimation or the interview or whatever you want to call it. But it was scrapped due to the fact that I felt that it was going to take away from the main scenes, which is actually a partial reason as to why the transitions of Fanimation 3 just basically became voice lines. Also because I was incredibly lazy and burnt out, but taken away was also another one. Number 2. The dance that the Ruby characters do isn't just a random dance. In the scene which I called Dungeon Master Dance Party, the characters from Ruby do a very particular dance. This is actually a replicated dance from the show. One of the most memorable scenes from the show is from the episode Dance Dance Infiltration, where the side characters, known as Team Juniper, do a dance to the tune of Shine by Jeff and Casey Lee Williams. This was copied by me, but I wouldn't say I'm really good at that kind of stuff, but I did it. The dance in the Fanimation also plays homage to Monsieur, who passed away in February 2015, and has been an inspiration for me and many other animators. So, I guess this fun fact also comes with a few downers. Number 3. Some things are animated far longer than they need to. Going back to Dungeon Master Dance Party, the DJs and the Ruby characters are actually basically animated the entire way through. The only exception would be that the Ruby dance has 2 of the keyframes massively extended to keep it going for about an extra 5 seconds. This is because I don't initially decide where the shots are going to go. I just animate the things and then I animate the background stuff and make sure that if the camera is on them, they'll be moving. It tends to add a lot more time than needed though. Number 4. All the characters are in the Dungeon Master Dance Party. McCree, Ellie, Sniper, Scout, Heavy, Vector, Lucio, Noir, Alan Wake, Mr. Torg, Senator Armstrong, Ruby Rose, Weiss Schnee, Yang Xiaolong, Blake Belladonna, Master Chief, Cloud, Batman, and the Joker. I just put them in there to make it seem more populated. There's no, outside of, DJs and Ruby reference, there's no reason why they're there. Number 5. The zombie scene wasn't planned to be animated initially. This was not intended to be animated originally. What was intended to be animated was Matthew Mercer saying, and I quote, "Oh no, I'd be dead in the first hour." And the reason this was changed was because... Number 6. The zombie scene only exists as it does because I just really wanted to do a fight scene. As I mentioned, Monsieur was an inspiration for me, and I would love to get up to its caliber. And while I have practiced with a few things, I have never really done a proper fight scene. So, I literally only animated it as I did because I really wanted to try some fighting. That is literally the only reason why the scene is as it is. It would have been a lot more comedic if I did animate it, not like that. Number 7. The tank that Winston barges actually does a backflip when he hits the ground. This one's a lot difficult to see because he's moving really quickly and so is the camera and everything's moving. I'm not even sure if you can even see it if you put it in slow motion, but the tank actually does a backflip when it impacts the ground, which is why it's on all fours when it eventually comes to a stop. Unfortunately, there was some issues with the particles, so it wouldn't show him scraping his hands on the ground to slow down or anything. Same case with the tank and Reinhardt's hammer colliding. And said tank also being shoved by Reinhardt. A lot of the particles really didn't work when I rendered them. And finally, some facts about the Fanimation in general. I already said number 1, so number 2. The Fanimations are actually done pretty quickly. Now, while I have shown that I've had over 100 plus hours a week on Source Filmmaker, in actuality, I only spend about 3 to 6 hours in Source Filmmaker animating the waifus of Overwatch. This roughly equates to around 30 or so hours per Fanimation, with Fanimation 3 being the longest at around 40 hours due to Dungeon Master Dance Party. But compared to my other 2 big projects that I did, Minecraft is for Everyone and the Attack on Titan 2 opening in the TF2 universe, it's a mouthful, I know, these are actually my shortest ones, with the other one getting close is, again, Fanimation 3. It gets close to Minecraft is for Everyone, which was 50 hours. And number 3, the series only exists because of Sonic the Hedgehog. Back in July, Sega did a Sonic Twitter takeover, where basically the voice actors of Sonic and Robotnik, Roger Craig Smith and Mike Pollock, basically answered tweets in character with the humor that Sonic is now getting more and more known for. Seeing this, I thought it would be fun to do some animations for, which I did, and, well, it's on Sonic the Hedgehog's official YouTube playlist of Fan Showcase, so I guess I did something right. But this also showed that people enjoy these kinds of things. So when the Waifus of Overwatch Fanimation showed up, I looked at it and thought, it worked for the Sonic one, maybe it'll work for this one. And, well, here we are. So that's a handful of fun facts involving the Waifus of Overwatch Fanimation. I don't know if I'll do this like every Fanimation that comes out, because there is going to be more. Until I get bored, there will be more. I don't know if I'll do this in like one big video, and I don't know if I'll just do this like whenever one comes out. I not got that far yet. But regardless, hopefully this was informative for you guys. Hopefully you now know a little bit more about what goes into making the Waifus of Overwatch Fanimations. Until the next time though, I'll catch you all next time.